So where's that from?
This is all from Jumonville. Jumonville was a reserve camp for the Braddock campaign. Only half the troops actually got into the battle, and they were ambushed before they hit Fort Duquesne. 1/3 were killed, 1/3 were wounded, 1/3 got back to this camp.
And this was the French and Indian War?
This is the French and Indian War, and they're called the Braddock campaign. General Braddock was going to go out and knock the French out of Fort Duquesne in western Pennsylvania. It didn't work. It happened in 1758 later in the Forbes campaign and so forth. This was a battle that was won by the French and the Indians. When the troops that were in the battle, and they say that Washington, he was aide-de-camp to General Braddock at the time, he had 4 bullet holes in his clothing, 3 horses shot out from under him. Lord had something else for him to do. On Daniel Boone, this was his first encounter with Indians. He was a wagoneer, 16-year-old. When the Indians started howling out there like crazy and musket balls flying all over the place, Daniel Boone cut the reins of the best horse and got out of there. His first Indian fight was get out of there. It was, yay deep in that camp. I knew it was right. We weren't digging a bunch of junk out there. And this was right under the middle of a tree. And the tree was probably 10 or 11 inches diameter, and it got a reading down in there. And I said, I know it's good. I couldn't even get my entrenching shovel down there or anything. I went back to the car and got a screwdriver. I went through all those tap roots, digging out that little bit at a time. Finally got down underneath the middle of the tree, and that's half a mortar ball right there. Of course, 12-pound mortar ball. We were south of the Eisenhower farm on private property in a woods, and it got dark after night. And I was using a Safari, Mind Lab Safari metal detector, and we were both finding things out there. But it got dark. I dug my last artifact, and then Mike was over there trying to recover something, and he couldn't find it. I went over with my pinpoint probe, and that'll actually light up an area like that, the light under there. And finally, we were ready to leave there. And I'm looking, he sees me looking all over with that pinpoint probe and says, "What are you doing?" I says, "I'm looking for my metal detector," because I'd set it down. He says, "I got it in my other hands." That's the only time that light meant a thing to me. I did use it that day. This was an area where it also showed one thing. This is a chewed bullet. It's either a cow, a hog, or a deer that thinks it's a nut. And not a pain bullet, anything like that. And we did a number of those. We knew that area basically was an area where cows had been. Now it was in the woods. But we did digging that. It was very interesting. In that one site, Mike Conklin dug continually a very strong reading, and all the way down in like that. We figured out what it was. The cows had been in there. There had been a salt lick in there. That salt went right down in the ground and you had a very conductive area just like that. You could dig halfway to China, you weren't going to get anything.
So it was just the salt that you were reading?
Lick had been, yeah, that was Mike Conklin, the fellow I was hunting with right here, that I found that. Okay, one of the stories on this is that relics can walk. But on the breastplate, this is my mistake, I had it lay on the desk back here, and it walked. Somebody thought they needed the breastplate more than I did.
I see what you're saying. Darn.
When I do something like that, you have so much the thrill of going out and finding it and knowing exactly who was there and above the Shenandoah River, out with your kids and so forth. It means a lot. If it were me, I couldn't sleep at night if I stole somebody's breastplate or even a bullet. I couldn't sleep at night. Now, I don't know if he lost any sleep or not, but he shouldn't. He should have lost some sleep or not.